how much debt they're carrying versus,
Yeah. And that's the last page of the report, yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Okay, call to order the August 4th, 2025 meeting of the Long Lake City Council. Good evening, everyone. It's 6:31 p.m. All council members are present this evening with the exception of Councilmember Feldman, who is absent with prior notice. Item 2 is a Pledge of Allegiance. I invite everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, item 3 is mayor comments, Long Lake News, meeting review, and updates. A few comments tonight. It's been, summer's been moving along. I think it's maybe been 3 weeks since we met last. Lots of rain. Park is still closed. Nelson Lakeside Beach is still closed. For those that are following that, it continues to be some bacteria issues, unfortunately, in the water there. So our staff has been keeping us updated on that, and that water continues to be tested by the county. And as soon as levels dip to a safe level, that'll be open again. Tomorrow is Night to Unite. So throughout the country, really big in Minnesota here, neighborhoods get together and spend time with each other, invite public safety officials to come out and visit, police, fire, etc. So we have a few parties going on, neighborhood gatherings going on in Long Lake tomorrow night, and our fire department is going to be out visiting those, as well as Wayzata Police. Probably too late to schedule one for tomorrow night if you haven't done that already, but we encourage residents to get together and plan those events for next year or years beyond. We always appreciate going to those and getting out and speaking to residents, finding out what's on their mind, and just getting to know individuals, citizens have not met before. I know some other council members will be joining tomorrow night as well, so looking forward to that event. And then on Saturday is Corn Days, annual event sponsored by the Church of St. George. And we also have the parade sponsored by the Long Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. We'll make an update on here in a little bit. So that is Saturday, just one day again this year for Corn Day. Corn Days parade is at 11 o'clock this year. So hope folks come out and to join that event on Saturday. Hopefully it'll be good weather. I know it's going to warm up here again though. So there's a few updates since last time we got together as a city. With that, we'll move on to item number 4, which is to approve this evening's agenda. Anyone want to make a motion
to approve tonight's agenda.
I can second it.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 5, consent agenda. Just items A and B on the consent agenda this evening. Any questions for staff regarding items in the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve this evening's consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6, open correspondence. Open correspondence is an item on the agenda during which the public may address the city council. No formal action is taken by the city council, and comments shall be limited to 5 minutes or less. And open correspondence comments may also be emailed to city staff by noon on the date of the meeting. I know we have some special guests present this evening. Does anyone wish to approach the council tonight for open correspondence? If so, state your name and the city you're from, please.
My name is Asher, and I'm from Independence. I have a couple questions about the handling of vacant properties in Long Lake. I would like to know how they're handled in terms of like how you would not make them not vacant anymore, or how you would have maintenance on them while they're vacant.
Okay, thank you, Asher. I guess you don't have to name, but are you thinking properties in Long Lake or just in general, or?
Long Lake specifically right now.
Okay. Yeah, so we're not aware of many vacant properties that are completely vacant properties, but what could be mistaken for are properties that are being used, but maybe they have items gathered on them or things like that. We did have a very vacant property for many years, kind of a little strip mall over by Caribou, and the city council at some point created an ordinance to make it so that there was some sort of penalties for having a vacant property for too long, and it kind of created an incentive to try to fill that property, make it so it's not vacant anymore. So that's one example I can think of when it comes to Long Lake. Otherwise, we try to, for other properties that maybe aren't vacant, but maybe have, maybe sightliness issues or garbage on them or things like that, we have ordinances in place to try to address that, and our staff will get a hold of those folks and try to get them to clean that up.
Are you looking at private property or city-owned property that are vacant? Because I'm just curious, what's your concern? Do you have a specific reason for asking the question?
I'd just like to know, like, business properties specifically. Properties that people use for businesses or any way of making money.
Sure. Yeah, so it's not city-owned, but.
So do you have an interest in an idea for property, particular property?
No, I just wanted to know.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you. I hope we answered your question for the most part anyways.
Well, just add an example. We have a vacant property that the Economic Development Authority, which is a part of the city that we bought. There used to be an old BP gas station on that corner. It's on the corner of Wayzata Boulevard and Lake, is that?
Yeah, Lake.
And we bought that, the city did, the Economic Development Authority, or EDA, bought that so that we can control what comes in there. And we tore down the old gas station. We cleaned up the land because there was contamination from having a gas station there for many years. And then our plan is to ultimately sell it and have a development there that will be advantageous for our city, and in my opinion, in particular, promote the pedestrian walkability of our city. So not just have like a drive-through coffee shop, for example, at least this is me speaking. I'd like something to that will promote people to come and meet and that they can walk to, and so we're not I guess it's for sale, but it's not actively we're not actively pursuing it right now. But we know that we'll be able to sell it at some point. And in the meantime, we have some other ideas, like we might have food trucks that will park there. And we've talked about some other uses for it in the meantime. But that's kind of an unusual situation because most of the time the city does not own, business properties or commercial properties. But in this case, we did buy that.
Is this part of a badge that you're kind of interested in government and seeing how government works, and so
Yes.
you just kind of, yeah, I can echo, we have looked at different proposals on that land, but sometimes it's kind of, depending on how they want to use it, there might be restrictions in zoning and financing, because the city doesn't finance the project, so it has to be a relationship between the city and the business and whether it works with zoning. So we are having, that's kind of been, depending on scale of the business, that's been an issue because the lot's not that big. So do you have any other questions that, in terms of how city government works? I'm putting you on the spot.
Just one last question about the properties. How many do you think there are currently vacant?
I don't think we have any very
She
few.
can answer that, right?
At one point, we did have a strip mall that was substantially empty, but as soon as it came under new ownership, the new owner was renting to tenants, and now I think he's only maybe got a space left, but, it generally, we did go through a period where there were some vacant storefronts. You would have observed along Wayzata Boulevard. But by and large, I think most of them are occupied now, and it's been really nice to see things fill in, and we love that.
There's a few residential ones that are empty,
I was
that are
actually-
private ones. I happen to know of a couple that,
We try to track private vacant properties. Unfortunately, the only information that we would have on it is whether or not they're using water. And we bill to the thousands of gallons, so sometimes it's hard to see if a property's been using water. So we look for a history of water use. You also have to be respectful because some residents travel for the winters or.
And that's residential.
Yeah, that's what you get, that's
Yeah.
what housing.
Yeah.
So if for residential, we try to track water to see if we can identify vacant properties.
Yeah, but for businesses, we're doing pretty good these days.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, so when they put in, you know, Wayzata Boulevard used to be the commuter line through here, took all the traffic. And that's why there were gas stations here that did well over the years. And then they put in the bypass, when was that, about
2001?
25 years ago or so? And that really hurt those businesses that relied on that commuter traffic. In fact, that BP station that I mentioned, that's why they shut down, because now they didn't have the traffic because that they used to have, so it didn't justify keeping that open. And a lot of other businesses suffered, but we've, as Jeanette said, we've kind of come back to creating Long Lake as a destination instead of just a pass-through town. And in doing so, we have a lot of great restaurants, we have a lot of great businesses, and also the new residents that are right next door here and across the street, all that new development that brought in more people into our town has helped bring in more businesses. So,
Right. Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, Asher.
And don't worry about taking notes, because you can always look back on the video of this.
You're on YouTube now, right? Anybody else? Oh, great.
I'm Jacob Sievertson, and I'm from Independence. And I go to soccer at the soccer dome by the McDonald's, and I've noticed that the road getting into it seems narrow, especially when some people are coming out and we're going in. And sometimes you have to wait a few minutes just to get in. And then because people are waiting there, they park on the side of the road, which makes it even worse, especially when it's dark. And I just want to know if you're doing anything about that and what you could do, I guess.
Sure. I had not heard about that one until today's. And do the cars get backed up onto Wayzata Boulevard, which is the street that kind of goes towards the schools, or does it get backed up on the little street right in front of the soccer dome, do you think?
It mostly gets backed up on the little street, not.
Okay. Yeah, and that's one of our wider streets, actually. We do have some narrower streets in Long Lake besides that one. So that one's a fairly new, modern street. But a lot of the problems that I think that we've heard about over the years is with the parking lot there. It's an older parking lot, and I think is it still gravel and needs some improvements, or did they pave
They
over
paved
now?
it, but
Yeah.
it's blown up, yeah. And I'll vouch for this. I'll agree with you, because my daughter plays soccer there, and it's like driving on the surface of the moon. It's not good. And also, yeah, I get it too when people are coming in and out. That's kind of another issue.
Is it mostly the driveway that you would say? The driveway entering the parking lot doesn't allow for a lot of traffic?
Right. It is kind of narrow there, and so it gets kind of jammed up, so people kind of park temporarily on the street, which, and you're right, it's a wide street, but it's one of those things where a lot of people are coming at the same time to pick up their kids and drop them off or pick them up. So that's a problem you could have at any business that has a lot of activity at a specific time of the day or evening. So I'm not sure what the city can do to that, but I agree it's an issue for me as well. So I get it. Yeah, I don't know. As far as the width of that driveway, is it compliant? I don't know.
That I'm
You-
not certain.
You can barely get like two cars in and out at the same
Pretty
time.
Skinny.
And you're turning as you're going in and then turning again, so it kind of like widens it, widens the lane you need to get in and out.
I'm not sure whether and where code would dictate the width of the driveway for that private property. It sounds like the area that is the most concern isn't actually the road, but is the driveway that causes problems on the road. Would you say that's probably right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do think we know, Mayor Reiner had called this to my attention, that it looks like the soccer club's going to be doing some fundraising to try to do some parking lot improvements. They did do kind of a pave over of an area, but without the drainage improvements that needed to happen there before paving. So yes, the pavement that they laid is blowing up. It would probably be a good time to share with them that, we've had some feedback that that driveway could be, maybe relooked at, because we don't wanna, although it's not our property, but we can certainly pass on to them that we've received a concern that there's been a bit of a safety issue, and see if they have anything in mind for reconfiguring the entry point in the future.
It may be a kind of a flow pattern for drop-off or something
Yeah,
like
since
that.
like a big
Yeah.
loop that cars can go through, because you get kind of stuck if you go in there. Is there like a loop pattern?
Well, if you go way around into the bigger parking area, yeah. In fact, they kind of do that. Some people do anyway, to sort of loop around, but.
It's not
Oh,
really the city's,
Well, but what I was going to say was, Jenna, we do have a city ordinance for having to pave a parking lot like that, right?
To pave, yes.
Yeah, so the city can tell them that you have to pave your parking lot.
And
We can't tell them, how they should manage traffic within their
Correct.
property, but we can make suggestions based on this kind of feedback.
exactly, and I have certainly done that times before. We did actually require that they pave the lot. Of course, they paved the lot under prior ownership. The club didn't do that. It was former ownership. It didn't turn out exactly as we'd hoped. We're hoping it'll be a little better this time around, but if they are exploring doing something with the lot, this would be a good time to share any concerns with them and let them know that there's an issue. Sometimes when you're inside watching people come and go, you're not necessarily looking out the window to see where the crunch or the bad spot is. And until someone actually raises that point of concern with them directly, that's what you need to call it to their attention. So we'd be glad to share that, I think, for you.
Great.
and
And
that's,
vice versa, the way the city finds out about a lot of issues is people just like yourself coming in front of us and saying, hey, were you aware of this? So,
and that street, it's not even striped for parking. There's no,
I don't think
Nope.
so. Great. Well, thank you, Jacob. That was informative. Good question. So does that help answer it at least?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
does it get you your badge?
Great.
does your troop have any requirements for like chainsaw use and falling trees or anything like that?
Yeah.
We have about
Okay.
100 opportunities for you
Nice.
guys
We were
to.
talking about that earlier. All the trees we need to cut down. Yes. Great. Well, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to stick around if you want. So we're going to talk about sewer pipe cleaning a little bit. Oh, yes.
So my name is Tim Euchre. I'm one of the Assistant Scoutmasters for Troop 206, which is the Long Lake Troop. And I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for your time with the Scouts who are working on their Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. And part of this is to learn about how the local level of government works. To become an Eagle Scout, you have to learn, or you have to earn citizenship in the community, nation, and world, well, and society. There's 4 citizenship merit badges, but they are learning about the local level of government with this merit badge. So thank you for your time tonight.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Okay. With that, and no emailed correspondence, I take it?
Nothing, thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move on to item 7, regular business. Specifically, we'll start with 7A, review of Buckhorn Days 2025, Long Lake, by Long Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Former Mayor Schneider, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. Just a very brief review of the Buckhorn Days that occurred back a couple of weeks ago, the 12th of July. First, from a Chamber's perspective, we want to really thank all of you, Director Dirks, integral in pulling it off. Also on the admin side, certainly Jeanette, Amanda, Scott as well. Again, could not thank you enough for all the help that we had in coordination, logistics. As you know from when I was here before the event, we added a new feature, a couple of features. Specifically, the fire department reached out to us and wanted to blend in their Hot Run 5K, which we did, and there were a few, minor logistical, issues, but they have indicated again they had a great experience and would want to do it again going into next year, so that was good. We had, I think, 7 musical acts. We probably are going to cut back a little bit on that, got a little crowded there. And then, of course, we had the Midwest All-Star Wrestling. Many of you were there experiencing it, Jeanette, husband Mark as well. And that, I think, for all of you who were there, realized for families, for children, for everyone there, it was, their brand, as it were, is just so well suited for a town festival like the one we had. So, good stuff there. I'll give you a little advance warning, or those of you who may still be on the council in 2027. We're in preliminary but advanced, shall we say, talks with the circus to come into town. Culpeper and Merriweather, if you want to take a look online. They are in our region this year, 2 years they'll be in. So we'll give you, Sean, plenty of advance notice. We need a little bigger space, but we're already thinking it through. Interestingly enough, I first saw this circus in Independence, Pioneer Park, many, many, many years ago. So it's the same group. They're still around again, very family friendly and involved. So good news on Buckhorn Days. All of you that were there, we had a beautiful day. We had no issues. But again, I thank everyone on the city level for the interaction with Wayzata PD, with all the logistical things that we needed, exceptionally helpful. Sunday morning, when we were there cleaning up, Sean, correct me on the name, Noah? Yep. Noah was there early in the morning with the tool cat, so instead of us having to haul the big sacks of trash to Public Works in the back of the pickup, we were able to load him up and he took it. So, I mean, just again, so grateful for all the help. On to just very briefly, coming up, and again, I've invited the Scouts because I know they, in the past, have participated in this, but we've got the Corn Days Parade coming up this Saturday. Still time to register, so just give me a call. We're very welcoming, plenty of room. As they say, the tent is big. And so a little change, the route is going to be the same, as always, you're familiar with it. However, the start time is 1 hour earlier, 11 a.m., so we'll begin our staging at 10 a.m. And Director Dirks, I'll reach out to you just to do the final coordination. Again, every year, very, very helpful with that. So good news is we've got not only the Long Lake Council there, it's going to be very warm, so again, I'd say skip the chocolate candy because that might melt, go with the hard candy. But we also have some new businesses coming. Talavera is going to be in the parade. The mobile sauna is going to be in the parade. And I've been after this group for a long time, but mock cycling is going to be in the parade as well. So I've been, as you know, I keep grinding away, and finally, we got some
caved in,
additional participants. So good stuff. And again, I'll just echo what I hear from all the members on the chamber and the board of the chamber is really thank you, number one. But number two, you know, our mission, it's really clear. We, as a community, as a chamber, want to continue to foster the environment that we have. And so when you think about other communities who are our neighbors and our community, you know, we see Long Lake Vet expanding, right? We see multiple restaurants in our area of service expanding or opening up. Those are the kind of things that I think when we all step back, not only as leaders of the community, but as citizens, we value. It's so nice to be able to, you know, take your dog or your cat to get help or go to the hardware store, and it's not an automatic thing. So everything that all of you do, I think, in fostering that environment is so important, and we as the chamber just try to really help accentuate that. So I know you'll all be there on Saturday, so we'll look forward to that. And don't forget the early start time. So very good. Thank you again, very much.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you for all the work you put into both of these events. And it's an incredible
To be
amount of work.
continued.
And
It's as mentioned, a great group effort, and also many thanks to the city. Now I should get your agenda back on here. Don't want to run away with that.
yeah, somebody runs that 5K every year. I really like that new format. I heard a lot of good feedback about that as well. The Red Hot Run and having that end up.
Yeah, I think we, again, have to do a little fine tuning on some of the start and finish and with the vendors coming in for the main festival, but I think the recipe is good,
Yeah.
All right, thank you again.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to item 7B, 2025 cleaning and televising of sanitary sewer districts 2, 3, and 5. You know, we did talk about this topic for a fair amount during our work session as well, but just thought we could kind of wrap up any loose ends that we need to, and if certainly open for any presentation you want to give as well, Sean.
Do you want to play that video,
Sure, I'd be happy to.
please?
We got a video. Okay, good.
The sewer thing.
You guys will like this.
We're gonna learn a lot about sewer systems tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Before you tonight is a result of discussions that the council had last council meeting on expressing some interest in cleaning and televising the rest of the city, which is encompassing District 2, 3, and 5. We did District number 1 back in first part of June, or maybe it was April, May, and so now we're, upon the decision of the council, we're looking at finishing up the entire city. As you can see in this video, this is a portion of a manhole that is leaking and dripping into the main invert or sewer pipe at the bottom of the manhole, and it's carrying it on into treatment. You can see roots, you can see grease. It's actually very old, so this is to be expected, and we're in the process of trying to shore this up and clean it up to where we don't get any excess groundwater coming inside the system.
Sean, there was no surface water at the manhole cover in this case. It was,
All the lids are sealed tight with a rubber seal,
yeah.
but the manholes, they sit in sections and they leak in between the joints. And that's where you're seeing as a result of that, is this constant pressure pushing against that infrastructure, water pressure, and eventually it'll fail.
Would you like another example, Sean?
I'm good if everybody else is good. Here's another example. I can talk about this all night. So this is a different part of a sewer line. This is to where they've already cleaned it. You can see the swirl marks of the jetting on the sides of the pipe where it's left the dirt behind, and the white stuff is actually PVC pipe. So it's cleaned all the dirt and debris off, and now we're seeing sections here. You want to back that up just a little bit. This is where our service line is coming into our main. The service line is the line that's coming from the house. And when it transitions, it always tries to leak right here. And as you can see, it's very evident that it's leaking as it's customary in a lot of those connections.
Those 8-inch lines from the house?
4
4?
and 6, 8-inch mains. But you can see it, not only is it running down the pipe, but you can also see where it's got a little bit of a intrusion coming in from the outside source. So the next video, I think, shows how one of the ways that we can remedy that is called pipelining. And this particular pipelining is of a residential sewer service line and not a main.
Notes. Here we go. Apologies, Sean, I had
No
just
biggie.
closed that video apparently.
Way better than I can do it.
You can see how organized we are trying to see. Here we go.
This is a post-liner inspection along Lake, starting at the city main, pulling back to the final cleanout in the garage.
So you're looking at the main right there, and they're pulling it back towards the house, and they're inspecting this whole new surface, is called a liner, which they put inside the pipe, and they put air to it, and it expands up against the sides of the pipe, and then they use steam to cure it. It's like a flexible fiberglass pipe until it gets heat to it, and then it cures in place. It's very, very common in the last 20 years to use this practice. However, there are practices that are equally, if not better, as far as integrity, without having to utilize the hose pipe. As you can see, there's no joints. It's all one continuous piece. Kind of like what we do on new or water mains, is where we try to eliminate any joints we can to.
Do you know if this was done in clay pipe or other?
I would say it's clay pipe because it was in an older part of town and it was done a couple weeks ago. So yes.
Where was this? This was.
I'm not remembering exactly where it was.
This was here in our city?
Yeah,
Yes.
Long Lake.
Okay.
At a private residence on the east end.
Yeah.
Service
Okay.
line coming in.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So with that being said, and we've watched a little bit of videos, the council asked me, or asked staff, to see what it would cost to jet and televise the rest of the city, which encompasses sanitary sewer districts 2, 3, and 5, and see if we can't present this tonight and get approval so we can get this all inspected and cleaned and developed, and see if we got any more issues that lie within the pipes underneath the ground that we can't see, that haven't been viewed in a very long time, and to see if we can come up with some kind of master plan here to move forward and see if we can't correct some of our issues. So with that being said, staff has recommended the following for considering of a motion to approve the 2025 sanitary sewer cleaning of districts 2, 3, and 5, and award it to HydroClean LLC of Des Moines, Iowa, at the anticipated cost of $72,956.29, with the caveat that HydroClean has a local office located in Maple Grove, so we're not sending everything to Iowa. So we're looking for that motion tonight, please.
So is it, how long when can they get it done? Because I know
Well, I
that,
talked to HydroClean Thursday, and probably 2 to 3 weeks before they can get in here, which I thought was fair.
Yeah. Pretty quick.
Large enough project with this kind of money, they'll make things happen.
Okay. Again, we talked about this quite a bit during our work session. Any other questions, for Sean?
Did you find, and I didn't read through all of the provisions and understandings for each of the bids, but were the assumptions or planned activities comparable between like HydroClean to pipe services, for example?
They're all apples to apples, once we sat down and got it all sorted out, because we did have some conflicting bids earlier in the week that, okay, well, that's not what we're looking for, so retry it, now we're all on the same page.
Okay.
And was there
It's
some
roughly
mention,
about 41,000 linear feet total, so, out of all of them.
was there some mention by the other bidder regarding his availability or their
They
availability?
were the same,
Okay,
because they were here before and they really like working in Long Lake, so I suppose it's close to their staff's homes and they're not running all over, so. The last time they were here, Pipe Services, they did a wonderful job and they were happy to be here, so.
but their bid was a little bit higher than the other bid.
And their bid was higher last time too.
It's
but,
7,000
Their
higher.
communication was poor, and we had some questions that were not answered by the time council meeting, so we awarded it to the next bidder. They couldn't get back to us.
So you feel comfortable going?
We've used this company in District 1 4 or 5 years ago, so yes.
Okay. So I can make a motion.
That'd be terrific.
Okay, I have to kind of flip. I'll make a motion to approve a 2025 sanitary sewer cleaning and televising project for sanitary sewer districts 2, 3, and 5 to HydroClean LLC of Des Moines, Iowa, at an anticipated cost of $72,956,000.29.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Amanda, where did we say we were gonna pay this from?
I verified the numbers, and this is going to come from additional revenue that we had received so far in the sewer fund, and I was hoping to help continue to try to build up that fund, but
Oh.
we will then instead use it to try to build up our sewer.
Okay.
So yes,
Yep.
it would come off the revenue, excess revenue.
All right, thanks.
And ultimately, this is an effort to, maybe you said this already, sorry. We're trying to ultimately reduce our costs to the Met Council because of all the I&I, which is infiltration and what, intrusion and infiltration?
Correct.
Because we pay a lot of extra money because there's extra water going to their sewage treatment facilities, and we have to pay for that. And so if we can line all our sewer lines or take care of the ones that are really bad, especially, that will help to ultimately reduce our sewer costs, and that will then be, everyone will benefit from that, so.
And this will be helpful in terms of going forward when we're trying to look for a way to get grant money to,
Right, yeah,
It develops the scope of our project, is basically what it does.
yeah.
just because it seems like, to Amanda's point, I know we talked about this in the work session, if we just did the whole thing, assuming that it's all bad,
We would just jet and cut the price in half of this.
yeah,
Because they gave us a price just to televise, and it was 35,000. Well, if we're gonna just televise, we need to jet and make sure it's clean before we televise, so we make sure we see everything, so.
yeah.
One goes in with the other.
By the way, when they line, do they rejet it before they line it again?
Yep, it has to be clean, clean as possible.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It does.
And you said they seal off the house connections
Yep.
for, there's gotta
When
be.
they did the line up by your house, 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever it was, they did it in the middle of January.
Fun.
She was steaming out everywhere, so.
Isn't that one really deep too?
Yeah, it's deep.
Like deep, deep, deep. Yeah, okay. How do they make that when they finally connect it again, to break that seal? Is it just some tool that goes down?
They cut it out, yeah.
And it creates a flange, like around the opening, a little bit of,
Yeah, it does. It adheres to the hose pipe. That's what it does.
Well, see, we learned a lot that none of us ever knew anything about sewers or,
I don't know if it's good or bad.
yes, that's the exciting role of local government,
Yeah.
guys. All right.
Especially if you get to the point where that's all you want to talk about.
Because my big thing is we
Or
could
retirement.
skip this step, but then we wouldn't have the data to kind of go to,
For the grant.
to get
That's
the
if we're
grant.
gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because we're gonna do it all.
Yeah.
All right, we had a motion and a second.
But they televise before they clean it.
No, they televise after they clean it.
But don't we want to see how bad the roots are and all of that
We want to
stuff?
see the holes. We don't care about the roots. We want to see the holes.
Okay,
Because the roots are coming out of the holes.
okay. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's, any last questions? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks, council.
Thanks for your work, Sean, and don't go too far. I think, got another item on the agenda here. Okay, item 7C, working draft amending City Code Chapter 16, Environment Article 4, trees to update tree management standards and regulations. Jeanette, did you want to kick this one off, or?
Thank you, Mayor. Our existing tree code, within our city code, the article we have now doesn't recognize other pathogens and infestations and primarily focuses just about entirely, I would say, on elm, Dutch elm disease, with a hint or two of oak wilt in there. We now have the much more current terminology that's been in use certainly back to 2006 of a shade tree pest. There's actually a statute that defines a shade tree pest as any vertebrate or invertebrate animal, plant pathogen, or plant that's determined to be harmful, injurious, or destructive to shade trees or community forests. So that's a much more broad definition intended to address things like emerald ash borer, Dutch elm disease, and all of these things under one banner. So I think we have been feeling strongly, and this was on our goals list for some time, that we needed to update our code to be more reflective of the current standard and to accommodate for any of those hazardous conditions that can happen to trees out there. So I have before you a very rough working draft. And just to identify how much it's working, I have even made more edits since what you saw, because I'm kind of continuing to go back through it. So the intent, of course, is to incorporate that shade tree pest standard, but also to be inclusive. We have tree preservation plan requirements in our city zoning code, and here and there it mentions in our existing code a tree preservation plan. But there's no cross-reference that says where that information can be found, nor is there any inclusion of it. So my working draft actually includes the language from the zoning code for tree preservation plan that would be pertinent and puts it all in one place. So there's not a lot of cross-referencing. That also would make it easier for us as a staff, as we're using this ordinance and working with applicants and developers. So we also wanted to better establish our authority for inspections and abatement of nuisances. One thing we're trying to do when we're dealing with any kind of nuisance tree abatement situations, or any nuisance abatement really, is make sure that we have a statement in there that, statements that identify the duties of our staff, but also a statement that sets forth and protects our staff and their right of entry to a property to review, the potential conditions of a nuisance and make a determination. We also needed to better clarify, I think it can be confusing out there, but it's actually state statute that governs tree disputes between private property owners. The city doesn't have an enforcement role in those situations. And so in writing the code, I wanted to be sure that we included a little language about that, not to belabor the point, but to make that information accessible for residents who are looking in our code, so that they understand that that's more of a civil matter, and also to clear expectations of the forester and city planner, who have a role in all things trees in our community. So this is very much a working draft. I have not yet put it in front of our city attorney for his review. Sean and I haven't really sat down and gone through it either. But I feel fairly confident that it's better than where we're sitting right now, and that's a good start. Since the draft that I put in front of you, I've already made a few edits. In the ordinance, there's a section on placement and care of trees. In a subdivision A under placement, I had size, variety, and spacing must be approved in advance by the forester or city planner. I added size, variety, spacing, and location. And what this addresses is trees in right-of-way or city-owned property. So want to make sure that it's out there that the city has the authority to approve the location of any trees that would be installed in right-of-way. Really, I don't think that there would be, but I think we need to allow for the possibility and be sure that that's subject to staff approval. Another thing that I discovered as I've been going through this and reviewing it is we actually have, I recalled a code enforcement incident we had years ago with clear cutting that occurred at a lakeshore zoning district property. And I went back into the zoning code, found the provisions. There actually are provisions in lakeshore zoning districts that state that clear cutting is prohibited, and kind of goes through that a little bit further. So
Yeah, but it doesn't define it, though, what is clear cutting, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing that's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're absolutely right that needs to be better defined, and it is on my list of bullet points. Like I said, this not only needs to go to our city attorney, but I'm going to send it to Hannah as well for the tree preservation and code enforcement side of things. And Sean and I will also go through it, but Sean's a busy guy, and I didn't want to waste his time until I knew we had a better product closer in hand. So yes, definition of clear cutting is one of my questions, because that's not defined anywhere currently in code. The other thing that caught my eye is when we were talking about tree preservation policy and the things that are technically exempt from a tree preservation plan. That's usually minor home additions or general home improvements and construction of accessory buildings. But following the theme of what is clear cutting, my question was, what is a minor home addition? So I have here a note for myself in parentheses, less than blank square feet. So trying to keep reviewing this every couple of days with some fresh eyes. I wasn't looking for any action this evening, only if you have feedback, if there's anything that jumps out at you as a question, whether now or after the meeting, I would love to hear it, because this is a working document. But my goal is to be able to notice this and have this on an agenda soon.
Can I ask you a question? So you have acceptable plants and you have prohibited plants. Why have both? Because what happens if it's not on either list? What is it? So if you just if you have certain plants that are prohibited, could we just have prohibited plants as opposed to what's acceptable? Because what's happened if it's not prohibited, it's not acceptable, can you plant it?
For clarification, the accepted plants are actually accepted plant types.
Okay.
We do allow ornamental trees, but there are certain ones that would not be. We do allow deciduous trees. I don't think there's any deciduous trees that are actually prohibited. We do allow shrubs, but there may be certain shrubs.
So every single plant that you could ever have is going to be in the category of what's allowed? Except for, then you have to look at that it's prohibited.
Let me just take a read here quick. So the acceptable plant types for public and private property, and this, just taking it over here, okay. Minimum size requirements, all trees and shrubs used for new plantings or as replacement trees shall conform to the following minimum sizes. So what that's really just talking about is sizes and acceptable plant types. Deciduous trees, 3-inch caliber. Ornamental trees, 1.5-inch caliber, balled and burlapped. Coniferous trees, 6 feet in height.
What if it
Shrubs,
happens if
24
you
inch.
just get little ones and you plant them by seed?
That is a good question.
Well, this should be for what they're required to have as a minimum number of trees on their lot. If they wanted to
Yes.
plant, in addition to that, some little saplings or whatever, I mean, they can do,
Right.
nobody's gonna stop them from doing that,
Right,
but this is to meet the minimum requirement,
For the planting plan.
yeah,
Yes.
right.
Oh, as a replacement tree shall conform. But a
correct.
new planting, it says for a new planting. All trees and shrubs used for new plantings.
Newer as replacement trees, and I think that's leaning towards new development, but I can look at that for some clarifying.
Just
language.
because
But again, the new
sometimes-
plantings to meet the minimum requirement.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, but that's not
Not
in.
because you wanna go out in your backyard and you wanna plant
Yeah,
you
that's-
know, plant an apple tree that's a foot
Right,
tall,
yeah.
you can do that, right? It's,
Right.
As long as it isn't in the right way.
Exactly.
Yay, speaking of right-of-ways.
Yeah. And we do, Hannah was very helpful, a couple of months ago, she shared with me a resource that another city had put together that was actually really kind of nice, and they'd worked with, a forester, an agriculturalist, I think, on it, and put together a, recommended tree list that listed, varieties of trees, their zones and, you know, hardiness, et cetera. And so we actually do have that now and have put it to use. I may have sort of snagged it, reformatted it, and placed our logo on it. But
Put it on the website.
it is on the website.
Okay.
Yep, I do believe I put it up on the website, along somewhere in the building permit stuff. But yeah, we have been putting it to use actually, especially as we've issued building permits for new homes. So the 905 Wayzata Boulevard new single-family home, when they received that permit, they also received, attached to the planning and engineering review memo, a copy of the recommended tree list. So, yeah, it's,
is that the
Yes.
property up by the Loose Line Bridge?
yes.
But they have a lot of trees on that lot, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yep, and that's really intended for tree preservation and replanting, because they will be doing some landscaping there, you know, after the house goes in, so.
Well,
So
so
anyway, this is, yes,
Thought it
rough
was a
draft.
great start.
rough draft, the placement and care of trees in terms of,
You're talking
no
about
person,
before
on the
now.
right-of-way, sort of, no plant shall plant, remove, cut above the ground, disturb, or attach any contrivance, to any street, et cetera, without obtaining the approval.
Yep.
So if they were to cut down their trees that are not looking so good, they still need approval?
If it's on public property, yes.
Okay, so they need anything they do in that right-of-way, they need approval? 'Cause
That is why we need to visit a little bit with our city attorney on
okay,
right of way, but technically, yes, they shouldn't be removing or putting anything in the ground, in right of way, I believe, without our approval to do so as a city. So,
how big is the right-of-way?
It changes.
Depends on each road.
Can range from 55 feet to 300 feet. Depends on the road.
so we will be.
It depends on where stuff is buried.
That
Or where it's
and
been
the
platted.
size of the amount of traffic that runs down the road. Residential streets usually 33 feet wide, usually. But the right of way, that's just the street part, and the right of way is 20 feet either side of that, so.
Measured from the center of the street?
Correct. Well, you can build a road on the edge of a right of way and still be in the right of way and have the whole road there and not take up the whole right of way. Because they can shift it, because the right of way is bigger than the road, they can be shifted within that right of way to fit. That's what we did up on Lindawood this go around, because we had to shift it a bit to make that curve a little bit more humanely possible, and put in a manhole that was laying on the outside of the street. Now we got that in the street, and we cleaned that up too, so, like I said, right of ways vary.
When you when you reroute the street, does that become it's not a easement anymore, you've eminent domain that part of
We're
the,
not rerouting it, we're just tweaking it.
okay.
We're just shifting it a bit to make it fit better in the right of way. We're not rerouting it.
Okay, but if you kind of, the right-of-way is the easement as opposed to
It's
actually.
still within there.
Okay.
Clearly within it.
Okay. No, I was just curious what the difference between the easement is and when it becomes an eminent domain issue.
Well, an easement and a right of way are different.
Okay,
An easement is what something that the city has purchased to put in private property, like a sewer line or a water line that's running in somebody's backyard. They purchased a part of that private property to have the ability to put this infrastructure in at a price that's agreed by the private property owner. Right-of-way is a street that's usually given to the city when a subdivision is built for the roads and the streets and the utilities. Easements are in addition to that right-of-way. So there is a difference between easements and right-of-ways.
Yeah, and easements, typically when we're, platting subdivisions of any kind, easements are dedicated along lot lines. So it actually falls on 5 feet on either side of a lot line. So you essentially have 10 feet in the middle there, straddling the lot line. So that a city employee, if they needed to get in there, they could do that.
And that's
Exactly.
that's every lot line, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right,
Yeah.
that's,
We've run into occasional hiccups on that with
People have wanted to.
old subdivisions, but
Well, and they've also wanted to use public right or easements for private utilities, and we don't allow that either.
so you can't put a private utility on a city easement?
Correct.
Even like Mediacom or CenturyLink or that kind of thing?
That's,
Or a resident who has a home that bought another home to utilize that easement to feed the other home that's building. Been down that road too.
so what's going on right now, so, I'm
Be
sorry to
your neighbor.
expand on this more. Yeah, I know. Like who's coming through, the media?
Midco.
Midco. So Midco is utilizing those easements to run their lines.
They're trying to stay in the right of way as much as they can.
yes.
Right, because there's some issues around. Seems like my neighborhood has
Easements
issues
they
like
had
that.
to follow, so there's no other route.
All right.
And these West Shore Townhome back behind Zavago, we had to let them go through the easement there because there's no right of way unless they go all the way around up through Orono back to feed it the back way. Just easier to go through the easement and be done with it.
Now, if, for example, because I think this is going to come up, especially with one of our absent council members, but when they want to run lines down a private area, like this that's coming in, can they go and obtain from those homeowners permission to do that? And what does that look like?
I'm not sure how that washes out, Todd.
Okay.
Usually if they're going into private property, it's just to serve that particular property. There's no
Yeah.
trunk lines or anything. It's
Because that's where this is coming back, and it's down Mike Street right there. There's 3 homes, and they're going to want it. And talking to the Midco people, they were like, no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so there's going to be a whole bunch of private streets that aren't going to have,
really.
yeah.
Well, is there any easement on a driveway that goes?
So I was talking to one of their supervising guys, and he said that if every, don't quote me, but if the residents of that private drive agree to grant an easement to whoever that is, they can do that, and then they'll go down. But they won't provide that service until
So the
they have.
whole area Underhill Circle, which is private, they're not gonna be allowed to go.
They're
there.
not going down there at all. And my neighbor on the right side is, because of the size of their easement, they're not gonna come to them either because they don't have the little 10-foot by, or 10-inch by 10-inch box that drops in the ground. They don't have enough room to put that in. I get one. But, yeah, it was,
Well,
Could he get an easement through your property?
we've already got water and sewer line easements through there
yeah.
that feed your house, they feed Feldman's house, they feed Jane Davidson's house, they feed all them houses back
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So it's surprising that they're not wanting to get on those.
yeah, I don't know.
So to circle back to trees. real
Sorry.
quick.
Sorry.
I just thought I'd wrap up this little chapter anyway. Again, very much a working draft, so I just wanted to put this in front of you, say it's a work in progress. If you have the opportunity at home to give this a deep read and maybe send me any notes or questions you have, or give me a call, I'd be happy to talk those through with you. We're looking for something better and more inclusive of what we could encounter in the future. Back when we had a code that dealt with Dutch elm disease, nobody knew about the emerald ash borer. So we're trying to
Modernize it.
we're trying to be a little more broad and also a little more current to operations. I hope we put together a great working document here.
What's a hazardous tree, infested tree, et cetera? Because I looked at this and it seemed kind of, let's just say,
Hazardous trees are, let's see, well, they're gonna be diseased trees. Anything that has been infected by shade tree pests.
because they only get not less than.
Essentially, the determination of a hazardous tree is actually made by the forester.
So is the forester gonna go out and, because
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that, is this gonna be, there's probably, I don't know how many hazardous trees in the city right now. Are they gonna kind of, what?
There's a lot.
Yeah, this doesn't mean that the forester is going out every day and looking at trees.
No.
What this means is that the forester has the authority to determine a hazardous tree exists, subject to certain criteria. So if we receive a complaint about a tree and someone says, I really feel like this is a hazardous tree, like this represents a public safety danger, can you have someone come out and look at it? Now, Sean, as our appointed forester, would have both right of entry to inspect and take a look at it, and be the authority to determine a hazardous tree, which our code already does allow for that. Pretty much every code allows for your forester to determine a hazardous tree. It's just that rather than declaring a hazardous tree due to basically Dutch elm or oak wilt, now we can declare a hazardous tree more appropriately and more in consistency with statute.
So it's complaint-based, because it just seems,
Every single time.
okay.
Yep, I mean, honestly, truth is, Councilmember Qualley, there are, throughout code, there are provisions about, you know, what this position does and what that position does and what this position does, and that doesn't mean that they're doing it every day. It means that it lies within their authority to do so. And so, this is not a new provision. What's new about it is treating it as shade tree pests, incorporating some statutory references, and just being much more current language.
So you didn't include the previous statute, is that because, or ordinance, because it was so, like it wasn't,
I do have some of the existing code in
okay.
here.
You didn't redline it? I just-
I did not bother to redline it because I very substantially started over.
Okay.
It's pretty much
Repeal or
specific
replace.
to a specific disease tree.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it really, really is. Let's say it's 5 pages long, and of the 5 pages, I think 3 pages are about Dutch elm disease.
Correct.
So, and that has been an issue for us at times when we've received calls about trees, because
Couldn't do anything about it.
our ordinance is not as broad as it should be, and I think we need to do better there.
All right. Well, thanks for your efforts on that so far, Jeanette. I think it's looking really good, and we've got some ideas on making it even better.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sean's going to give a review as well, our forester. All right, other duties is assigned.
Hopefully we can come to a decision here that makes everybody happy.
Right. Yeah, we talked about our work session, just for those watching home, we are aware that we've been getting some complaints about trees that are, have died due to emerald ash borer that are in city parks and on their right-of-ways. And if we are looking into how best to address those and prioritize those. Every city is dealing with this right now. Some cities would go, bankrupt if they took down every tree, because there's just so many trees out there that need to be taken down. So we need to do it thoughtfully and figure out the best course of action. And we talked about that a lot during our work session. So 30 years ago it was a
Emerald ash. Was it? No.
Dutch elm.
Dutch elm.
Or the 80s, it was probably Dutch elm, and now it's emerald ash borer, unfortunately, right? All right. With that, then, we will move on to item 7D, Fire Department transition and future fire service news and updates. Usually have this on our agenda each meeting. From my perspective, things are continuing to go well with our discussions with Orno and creating our joint powers agreement fire department. Councilmember Dybek and I met with our peers on the Orno Council a couple of weeks ago now, and had a really good discussion with them, Mayor Thunheim and Councilmember Persian. We had not met with them for probably a couple of months, because at the staff level, they've been working on perfecting drafts of the joint powers agreement and now lease agreement. So we had a really good discussion about that. I know we've given our most recent draft back to our City of Orono peers late last week. So they'll look it over and get back to us here hopefully in the near future. And I think our, kind of a target right now, I met with Councilmember Persian over the weekend, was just to try to maybe see if we can get something done in early September. It's a month away. That'll come up quick, I'm sure, but we'll continue to plug away at that. So some progress, continues to be progress there. I know there's some little budget figures going around as far as just the new rebranding essentially that'll be needed with if there's a new name and new equipment that would need to be standardized and things like that. So working on some budget issues with that and what that might cost to do some equipment upgrades there and uniform upgrades and things like that, as well as the 2026 budget. I know staff is working on that as well, and some ideas there and some staffing plan concepts and that sort of thing. So those are some updates from me. If anybody else has any, welcome those.
I'll just add that I think we're close to signing a JPA, Joint Powers Agreement with Orono. And we're just I think both sides are trying to be careful to try to make this very difficult to leave, because we both cities want to be committed to this for just not only now, but for the future. And so we're trying to draft it that way so that so that we'll have a future joint powers agreement going forward, and ultimately a fire district to include other communities as well. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree on all accounts. Great, and there was an article in the Laker Pioneer last week as well, or over the weekend, about Maple Plain Fire Department and West Suburban Fire Department getting very close to consolidation as well. That looks like it would take effect on January 1st, 2026.
Wow.
So there's great movement, progress out in Independence and areas out there, and that's very promising as well. So it seems to be a wave of the future, this fire consolidation stuff, from what I'm hearing.
So it seemed like they had some kind of issues in terms of financing between, when they originally were talking, West Suburban and Maple Plain. How did they work that out?
Yeah, right, I think mostly with the pension and the
Yeah.
pensions plan, and I don't know the ins and outs, but I know they're looking at migrating to PARA, Minnesota Run Plan, Public Employees Retirement Association, and there'll be some way to kind of sort of cost savings related to that. Yeah, it seems promising.
So if you're on para, do you have to be, could you be a volunteer? Does that apply to volunteers or?
Yeah, paid on call. Yeah,
Okay.
paid on call.
Okay. Is that something we're thinking about?
I think that is something that we want to encourage, that we're going to be looking at and see if that's a good fit for our situation, right? It's managed by the state then. The state has a state board of investment that manages the funds, as opposed to more at the local level, and a lot of good benefits to it. So I think some portability too, as far as wanting to switch departments and that sort of thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Or not good?
Right. Depending.
Depending, yeah.
All right. Anything else? Todd, Scott? No? Okay. All right. With that, we'll move on to item 8, other business. Go around. Councilmember Newcomer.
Nothing from me.
All right. Councilmember Dybek.
Nothing for me.
All right. Nothing else from me.
Nothing for me.
Wow.
I'm good.
I do have one thing that I probably should fill you guys in on. The LMCC has taken possession of their corner of the Public Works building, I guess would be to say. And they've committed to tearing the carpet out. They've torn all the wallpaper out, all the ceiling tiles, and they're skim coating the walls. There hasn't been any activity for about a week, so that's where we sit.
Okay.
So there is progress, but it kind of stalled, so I don't know if they're waiting on new items coming in to put in, I don't know.
Kind of, I think, sort of it has to do with
Closing.
the timing, yeah, of the closing and what's
Oh,
going
at
on
their
with that. Yeah,
existing facility.
yep.
I know they hit it hot and heavy, they had dumpsters there, run things were rolling, and all of a sudden it was crickets, so. All right,
All right, good update. Thank you.
that's all I have, thank you.
All right, thanks. Jeanette, anything else?
Nothing, thank you.
All right, Amanda.
Nothing from me, thank you.
All right. John, anything else?
Second
I
chance.
was waiting for it.
So Mox is
Well,
in the
I
parade?
could've- Huh?
Mox is in the parade?
Apparently, that's what I hear.
So you can be on the Mox float or the Long Lake
No, I'll
Council
be
float?
on the,
Okay.
like,
All right, we're good to go. We got banners ready to go and, you know, the fire
Yeah,
department's
so-
buying candy.
we'll have to get those on the truck and all of that.
I'll call Chief and make sure they get to him.
Yeah, or I can help with that too. I'll go over there early.
Going out tomorrow night, is there a plan for that,
Yeah.
or are we just
Meet,
fire station?
Yeah, meet at about 4:45 at the fire station.
4:45 at the
Anybody
fire
else
station.
plan on joining, going on the trucks for the National Night Out? Scott, right?
Maybe I'll let you know. Yeah.
Okay, and we did post a quorum notice for that, I believe. Excellent, all right. So that will be a fun event.
What time is it?
Would meet at the fire station about 4:45 to head out from there. Trucks, yeah. All right, if there's nothing else then, I'll adjourn the meeting by general consent, and then we'll talk about, just the next meeting is going to be, I don't forget, Corn Days this weekend on Saturday, as Marty mentioned. And then next council meeting Tuesday, August 19th. Folks, everybody gonna be around for that as far as we know?
Checking right now.
You don't have to check now, I guess, but. All right, sounds promising. As long as we have a quorum, that's the main goal, so. All right, I'll adjourn the meeting by general consent at 7:42 PM.